Hi, Thomas Enqvist here from Betsafe, and today we are looking forward to Wimbledon, the highlight of the year, the biggest tournament in the world, the most prestigious event of them all. Welcome.
Yes, hello and welcome. And Thomas, of course, Wimbledon is the most famous tennis tournament in the world, and it's also the oldest Grand Slam tournament, played already 1877 for the first time. And I think almost every young player, if you ask them what do you want with your tennis, they say win Wimbledon. And when you started to play, was it your dream as well?
Absolutely. I mean, it's every tennis player's dream is to win Wimbledon, and it's the tournament, and it still is. I mean, every time I'm lucky enough actually to be able to go to Wimbledon, still I'm invited to play the invitation doubles, and it's just an unbelievable feeling every time you go through those gates. It's a special place for us tennis lovers, and absolutely, I think that everybody would agree that if you can choose one tournament to win, this would be it.
And your dream came through. You won the junior title in '91.
Yeah, it's true actually. I did win as a junior, and as a professional, I went to quarterfinal. Was my best results, and I mean I played many Wimbledons, and always a incredible atmosphere, even on the outside courts, and I mean memories for life every time you step on those courts.
Do you still remember how you felt the first time you took your first steps on that historical ground?
Yes, a little bit. I mean, the first time you just got inside those gates, I mean, you were watching it on TV. I mean, for me, like Björn Borg was my big hero, and of course I remember watching the finals in Wimbledon between him and McEnroe. And when you won for the first time, you came in, and it was possible for you to play on those courts yourself. Of course, that was a big dream come true.
And 10 years after your junior title, you were in the quarterfinal in the men's singles, playing Patrick Rafter, who then went to the final, all the way to the final, where he played Goran Ivanisevic. Ivanisevic had been in 3 previous finals in Wimbledon. Now he was ranked 125 and got a wild card into the tournament, and he took the title. My best memory from the final is the last points, where he almost cries before he took the title. He was so emotional. What do you remember, Thomas?
Yeah, it's an unbelievable final, and like you said, that shows how much that tournament meant for Goran Ivanisevic. And he was so close a couple of times before, and this was kind of his last chance. Like you said, his ranking had dropped. He had some injury problems. He needed a wild card to get in, and here he was again in the final, in a position to win. And I remember that in the end there, he said, Goran is a good friend of mine, and he told me that his arm, like he couldn't feel his arm. It was all numbed, and he tried to hit it just to relax, and in the end he managed to win that final. And I think that all of us that follow tennis, like he really deserved that one, and we were so happy for him.
And we should also say that Goran Ivanisevic is one of only 9 players who during the professional era has taken his first Grand Slam title in Wimbledon. 21 players took their first Grand Slam title on Roland Garros, 13 in US Open and 11 in Australian Open. Is that just a coincidence, or do you have any explanation to that the figures are so different?
Yeah, I think you need a lot of experience actually on grass, and not only on the surface grass, but also of Wimbledon, and especially what we have talked about here, how special it is. I think that if you have like a Grand Slam already, under your belt, that's what I say, that you have already won one, and you have played some big matches before. Obviously, that's going to help you if you come down in the end of a Wimbledon tournament, where you go into that special center court, and I think that's the reason why we don't see too many first-time Grand Slam winners in Wimbledon.
Yes, and Wimbledon is very traditional. For example, the special dress code that they have had since the middle of 1940s, and that because of Ted Tingling. He was a player and an umpire, but he was also a fashion designer, and he created some dresses for a couple of female players, and they had color in the dresses. But the tournament reacted strongly and said it's not allowed to wear colorful dresses in Wimbledon. It should only be white. And what do you think about this, Thomas? Is it a good tradition or?
No, I think it's nice. I have to say, I think it's that's what would make Wimbledon so special with all those traditions. You know, you have separate locker rooms depending of your seedings. All the players playing all whites. It's everything is like the same way. Even if they have invested an enormous amount of both time and money in the arena, and which is one of the nicest arenas in the world, it's still this. It has kept this traditional feeling when you come inside those gates. So I think that they have done that really well, and I think all players all playing in white, I think is part of that, and I'm for that. I think it's nice.
Yes, and as you can see, Thomas and I today we are wearing white to honor
Absolutely.
Wimbledon a little bit extra. But during the years it has been some discussion about this dress code, and Andre Agassi, for example, he refused to play Wimbledon for 3 years because he was not allowed to wear his colorful shirt. And another thing that has been discussed during the years in Wimbledon is this special seeding formula that they have. When they seed, they look at the ranking, but they also look at the results on grass the last 2 years. So for example, this year, world number 5, Roger Federer, he seeded 3, and world number 2, Rafael Nadal, he seeded 4. What do you think? Is it good with the seeding formula, or should they follow the ranking as in the other tournaments?
Yeah, I think it's good as well, I have to say, because I think that grass is one of those surfaces that are very different to the rest of it, you know. And maybe these days when the grass plays a little bit slower, the bounce is a little bit higher, and you can play more regularly baseline tennis. But in the past, I mean, it was day and night to play grass court tennis, and I think the tournament done a really good job to make a fair adjustment of what players should be seeded a little bit higher than their ranking. So again, that's part of the tradition, and I think that everybody accepts it. And of course, it would always be when a big name might be bumped down a couple of spots, and that would, after you see the draw, and that he will play another great player a little bit earlier than he should have done. It's always some discussion about it, but in the big picture, I think they've done a great job of adjusting the draw, make it fair. And again, it's part of the tradition, and I think it's good.
Yeah, and what we should say, this seeding formula, which was introduced 2002, is better than the system they had before, when they had a seeding committee. The persons in the seeding committee, they decided and looked at the guys, and this one plays well on grass, this one doesn't, and they seeded from that. This seeding formula is of course better. And when they had the seeding committee, we had a couple of years when, for example, Alex Correia and Albert Costa, the clay court specialist from Spain, they boycotted Wimbledon because they were not seeded as high as they were ranked. But look at this year. I mean, for example, Stan Wawrinka, he's world number 3. He should be ranked number 3 in all other tournaments. He should be seeded number 3 in all other tournaments, but in Wimbledon he's seeded number 5. He must be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time it doesn't make a big difference, but in this case, like you say, for Stan Wawrinka it does make a difference, because if you are along the top 4 seeds, you obviously don't play the top 4 names until the semi-final, and for him now, when he can play one of the top guys already in the quarters, it might make a little difference. But in the end of the day, I think all the players, they are focusing on get through that first week, and a lot of things can happen before that as well. So I mean, seedings are of course important, but in the end of the day, the best player will win the tournament.
And now look at this. We will look at this year's tournament, and we just got the draw in our hands, and without the title defender Serena Williams in the field, the ladies single is wide open. Right, Thomas?
I think it's wide open, absolutely, but I still have a couple of names that I would like to share with you, because I think that, for example, a player like Pliskova has to be dangerous on the grass. I mean, with that serve, and also now that she's been playing well in Grand Slam tournaments before, she's more and more matured as a player. Grass is a surface for her that is really suits her really well, and she's also playing well at the moment. She's in the semis now in the warm-up event here before Wimbledon. So I think that she's a very dangerous player. I would also say Kvitova, who's very strongly came back after the tragic thing that happened to her, and she's really back on track and already won Wimbledon twice before. So she's also a name that I would mention. So I agree with you that it's very wide open, but still I think that you have a couple of girls I think that I would expect to do well.
And let's not forget about Venus Williams. She has won the title 5 times, and now will she try to defend the family honor on the grass. Another interesting name is Johanna Konta, the British #1, who is in very good form, and she's a very good grass court player. But yesterday in the quarterfinal in the WTA tournament in Eastbourne, she slipped during the match against Angelique Kerber and injured. She has a back injury now, so maybe it's a question mark for Johanna Konta, unfortunately. But Thomas, if she will be back and fit for Wimbledon, she's one of the biggest contenders for the title.
I totally agree with you, and I'm actually at the moment in London, and of course that was a very big news here because she's a very big British hope to do well in Wimbledon, and she has also a very good game to play well on the grass, and very unfortunate for her. Very much hope that it was more concussion that she didn't play that semi-final, that she has a couple of day rest now, that she can be back and be in full shape until Wimbledon start, because with that serve and with that game she has a very good chance I think to do well.
And if Johanna Konta will be all right for Wimbledon, I think she's almost in the same position as Kristina Mladenovic was in French Open. A huge favorite, home favorite, but also a lot of pressure on their shoulders. Do you think she can handle it?
Yeah, I think she can actually. I think she a little bit same as Nalovic. I think what you say, that they love this kind of matches. They love this kind of challenges, and they kind of race with the occasion a little bit. Usually she enjoys the pressure and she enjoys to play in front of her home fans. So I believe that should only help her actually.
Now let's have a look at the men's tournament, where Andy Murray is the title defender. And the world #1, he has struggled a big part of this season, and his results hasn't been as strong as we expected before the season. But in French Open, I thought he was getting better and better for every match, and he played this great semi-final against Stan Wawrinka. And then we thought when Murray comes to grass in Queens, where he has won 5 titles, he should be even better. But instead he lost in the first round against Jordan Thompson. So Thomas, therefore it's still a question mark for Andy Murray, or?
Yes, I would say so. I was very surprised actually, because I think that he played himself in shape during Roland Garros. I think he started maybe not too well, but then I think he played better and better, and I think he did a great semi-final against Wawrinka, and I thought that was a little bit the turning point of his season. I expected him to do really well at Queens, but again, like a shocking first round loss there for him, and he's struggling, like he's looking for his form. He obviously lost a lot of confidence, but again, I mean, we all know what he can. I mean, he's a fantastic grass court player, with the home fans cheering him on, with all the memories he had as in the past. He won 2 times Wimbledon already. He also won Olympic Games at this arena. So I think that it's all about now for Andy to get into the rhythm of winning again. It's all about to survive that first week, and I think that he will be dangerous. So I would not hold him as one of the big favorites coming into this event, but the world #1, 2-time defending champion, we can definitely not forget about him.
And Murray plays a qualifier in the first round, which we know can be tricky. And if he wins there, he possibly meet Dustin Brown, who a couple of years ago shocked Nadal in Wimbledon. So it's not an easy draw for Murray.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, like especially when you are searching for your form, suddenly like matches that you were pretty confident and comfortable with playing before, you started to be more difficult. But I mean, he's so solid, Andy Murray, and now with the best out of 5 sets also, I think that he should definitely go through those matches, and if he gets on a little bit of a roll and he survived the first week, like he showed what he did in Paris French Open, I think he will definitely be a name that we will have to mention.
In opposite to Murray, Nadal has been very impressive during the whole season so far, and especially during the clay court season, and extra especially in Roland Garros, where he lost only 35 games in his 7 matches and took his 10th title. But now he comes to Wimbledon without a grass match in his body. He should have played in Queens but withdrawn because he wanted to rest after Wimbledon. But Thomas, this week you have seen Nadal in competition. Tell us.
Yes, he's at the warm-up event here, and he, of course, as always, looking hungry. And coming in with a lot of confidence after a fantastic season. Not only the clay court season where he was so dominant, but also like he has started the whole year in an unbelievable way. And he's the one who has the most points so far this year, and he's in great position to finish the year #1 in the world again. And the way he played in Roland Garros, the way he played in that final, the aggressiveness, the backhand he's stepping into now. I mean, he's playing so much more aggressive. If he can play the same way here on the grass, I mean, for me, Nadal is one of the definitely big favorites.
You mean bigger than Federer?
Well, it's tough to say. I think that for me, that's 1 and 2. But I think that Nadal looked extremely strong in Roland Garros. I know that's clay, but the way he actually played, I never seen an aggressive Nadal like that. And if, again, of course, surviving the first week, the grass gets a little bit more used, the ball's going to bounce a little bit higher. If the weather can stay dry and warm, yes, I would say that for me, he's the biggest favorite.
We also, of course, must mention Novak Djokovic, and same as with Murray, the Serb has struggled a part of this season. He has dropped from number 2 to number 4 on the ranking. This week he's playing in Eastbourne, where he took a wild card, but he hasn't been that impressive. I mean, today he's playing the semi-final against Daniel Medvedev, and maybe he take the title. But what we have seen so far, it's not the best of Novak Djokovic. Do you agree?
No, he's like Murray. He's been struggling this year, and he's been struggling with motivation, with injuries, and of course, for them who are so used to winning so many matches, winning titles, it's a little bit of a new position he's in, and obviously lost a lot of confidence, Djokovic as well. But again, that we know what he's capable of doing, and we know when he's finding form, he's one of the best players ever played the game. So I think that was a smart move to in the end take that maybe wild card if that he felt like he needed to do needed to get some more matches. It's a little bit the same situation that Andy Murray. It's tough to know exactly where you have Djokovic, but also knowing that if he can survive that first week, if he can get a few matches under his belt, he can find the rhythm, get back his confidence. I mean, he's done it so many times in the past. Of course, we cannot say that he don't have a chance to win it in the end. Absolutely not.
And with those words, Thomas, it's time for your picks for the favorites in this year's Wimbledon.
Yes, I would say on the ladies' side, for me, it's very wide open, very difficult to pick a winner. But I definitely would say the names I mentioned there before with Pliskova and Kvitova. If I had to say 2 names, I would mention them. Big favorites on the men's side for me, it's Nadal and Federer. That has dominated the season so far. Federer also now winning this title in Halle, his 9th title in Halle, coming into Wimbledon with confidence. Loves the grass, 7-time champion before. Of course, he's one of the favorites. But then again, of course, it's always, especially in the beginning of the tournament when the grass is new and the big service, like we see Lopez playing very well so far. Final in Stuttgart, also won. Queens. I mean, he's a dangerous player. I'm not going to say that he goes all the way, but he definitely can beat one of the big names. And I know he's playing Djokovic in the early rounds, maybe already in the 3rd round, I think. And then you also have players like Cilic, who is playing well. Karlovic is always difficult the first week. So looking out for the big servers who can do some upset against great players.
And with that, Thomas Enqvist and me say goodbye for this time. Thank you for watching, and we will be back before Skistar Swedish Open, the clay court tournament in Båstad, Sweden, later in July. See you then. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you very much, and I see you guys soon again.